everyone. Welcome to my About Me video. Your first assignment for my class is going to be to share a little bit about you. And I thought the best way to kind of present that activity to you was to share a little bit about me. So, dear students from Miss Brown, in this picture I am sitting behind some of the moths that I collected for my master's research. And we'll look closely at one here. So this is a Cecropia moth. The research that I was looking at was how prescribed fire or intentional burning of forests affects rare moth species. This wasn't a rare moth, but it's one of the bigger and most beautiful ones, so I wanted to show that kind of a close-up image of those. And I'll talk a little bit more about my excitement about science a little bit later. So first, a little bit about me. I grew up in Vermont, and I went to the University of Vermont both as an undergraduate student and then also to get my master's degree. In this picture, this is showing the Jeffords Building, which is where my office was as a graduate student. And so it basically, that kind of became my home when I was at UVM. Then partway through my undergraduate career at UVM, I decided that I wanted kind of a chance away from home, so I went to the University of Hawaii for a year where I studied marine science, and it was a fascinating experience. Saw lots of things that I had never seen before, having grown up in Vermont, and one of the things that I researched there was looking at this toxin in fish, so I spent lots of time dissecting fish livers to isolate that tissue. After my undergraduate, I lived in Oregon for a year, and then I moved to Kenya, where I was a Peace Corps volunteer. I taught high school science, and this is a picture of, this is just my ninth grade class. They actually all fit in the same room, so I think there were about 60 of them, all kind of crammed into one classroom. They shared desks, and they were, so you can tell from the picture, like to be goofy sometimes. But I've done other things too, other than teaching and doing research. So I've worked for my brother for a couple of years. He's an arborist, so I spent time cutting down trees. Had lots of other odd jobs, which I'll share throughout the year, I'm sure. And family is really important to me. So in this picture, this is me with my family when they came to visit me in Kenya. So when I was there, I stayed there for 2 years. I didn't come home during that time. So it meant a lot to me that my family came to visit, and they actually could understand a little bit what I meant when I would talk to them after having seen where I was living. Other things, what I like to do outside of school. One thing that I'm really interested in is, you'll find, are insects. I think part of that interest just stems from the fact that we don't think about them that often. They're kind of harder to see, and they're the little creatures, and this is a picture of a praying mantis that I found in Kenya, which actually wasn't little at all. It was probably the length of my hand, and was a pretty neat insect. I've never seen anything quite like that. I also have a kitty named Usiku, who you'll probably hear me talk about from time to time, who is a pretty wild cat, and right now is enjoying hanging out on the countertops, which he shouldn't be, and eating our food while we're trying to make it. I also spend lots of time running and long distance running. This is a picture from the Vermont City Marathon, which you all will have the opportunity to participate in with the Craftsbury team this year. And this wasn't with the Craftsbury team, this was before I lived here, but that's something that you'll probably see me on the roads quite a bit, running. And just generally being outside. This is a picture from my first day on the Long Trail. When I graduated from my master's program, my friend and I decided that we were going to treat ourselves to a hike on the Long Trail. So we spent 25 days on the trail, hiked from Massachusetts to Canada, and that was a really neat experience. And then a new addition to my life is this little lady, Brigo, who is our new puppy. She's a little bigger than this right now, but she is full of energy and causes lots of trouble and tries to eat Usiku. So one of the things that I want you all to introduce are some goals that you have for this year. Now my goals, the first one is to get to know you and to learn how you learn best and to figure out a way to kind of create a classroom environment that helps you learn best. Also to challenge you, so it's important to me to challenge you so that you're advancing, but so not that you're challenged to the point of frustration. So that is where communication is going to be really important between you all and I about where you're at in the class and how it's working for you. I am really passionate about science, so I'd like to continue learning about the science that I'm teaching about and that I'm passionate about. And so, for example, some of you might have heard that I went to Yellowstone last year to study the behavior of wolves. And that's something that I then brought back to the class and we'll actually talk about this year as well. But having that experience of kind of engaging the science is also important to me. And then also to get outside more than I did last year and do some running, some hiking, skiing, biking. I haven't even biked at all this year. So you'll find that I'm here quite a bit. I'm here early in the morning and I usually stay later in the afternoon or evening. That'll probably happen less so with a puppy, but it's important to me that I make time to still go outside. So I'd also like you to introduce things that you love about science, and here are mine. So I love that science helps us explain phenomena that we see in the world around us and provides a lens to see that or to look at that. So this creature is a solpugid, which is, well, I'll talk about that in a minute, but I saw this on my wall in Kenya, and it was about the size of my hand. Now, one thing that I'm kind of embarrassed to admit, but I'm pretty afraid of spiders. However, I'm not afraid of scorpions, and this to me looks like in between of a combo of a spider and a scorpion, and it's actually in between. Spiders and scorpions are pretty closely related, but what I kept telling myself was, okay, I need to know if this is a spider, because if it's a spider, I'm scared of it, and if it's a scorpion, then I'm not so scared of it. And so looking at kind of the classification of living things would have helped me decide that. I love that we're always learning more and more, and we learn more from either looking at new data or reevaluating other data based on new ideas that we have. So we're kind of never done with the process, which relates to this one, that once you learn or discover something new, to me that doesn't really stop the questioning, that only triggers more questions and more discoveries to happen. So now it's your turn. I'd like you to include in your story a little background about you, what you like to do outside of class, what you enjoy about science, and or just school in general, and some of the goals that you have for the year. So there are many different ways that you can do this. You could do a photo story. You could do something like I did where it's kind of a presentation / video. You could write me a letter, or if there's something that's on here that's not on here that would be an interesting way to present about you, then you can do that instead. That's your task.